Welcome to another episode of Relics Radio. This is a family-friendly show, so the entire family can join us as we talk metal detecting, relic, and treasure hunting. You can also call into the show at 270-495-0315 or join in the chat and post any comments or questions you might have. Relics Radio is available live on the Spreaker app, but it's also archived wherever you get your podcast. You're listening to Relics Radio.
Many spend their days passively searching for something. Others and find it. While nothing is certain, anything is possible. And the anticipation leads you into action. Because it's here that adventures begin, stories are unearthed, secrets are revealed, fortunes are found, mysteries are solved, and the past is brought to life. Nothing valued is ever lost. It's simply waiting to be discovered. So here's the question. What are you looking for?
Adrian, how are you? Adrian!
Sorry. Hello, David.
Sorry, I just got to do my Rocky Balboa impression, which wasn't very good then. Good evening, Adrian. How are you?
I'm cool, thanks, mate. Yeah, sorry.
Cool. I'm glad you're cool. I'm glad you're cool because I'm not cool.
No, I'm not. I'm not cool. I'm cool in it as a person, but hot. It's very hot today.
You're not hot as a person, mate. Let's be fair. Well,
not as I am.
You are.
I'm not as hot where our guest tonight's coming from, Ken King. It's been very hot out there in America, isn't it?
Bit mad. It's mad everywhere at the moment. But hey, look, I'm off work as of tomorrow afternoon. So the weather is bound to break because I'm off work 3 weeks, and you'll have 3 weeks of snow now, and it's all my fault.
Well, it's rained Saturday and Sunday, but I don't mind because it's good for the ground. It's going to soften it up, isn't it? So
it certainly is. Talking of moist and good for the ground, well, it wasn't so good for the ground. Very thankful this weekend. I've been out metal detecting with Shane Holdcroft and his friend Ben Carlisle on one of their permissions near to where I work. We've got a brief video which we'll play in a little while. After we spoke to Ken for a wee bit, just introducing you to an archaeological site, which is on the site of where we metal detected. And funny story, Adrian. Sadly, Shane is obviously a YouTuber, Staffordshire Searcher, for anybody who would like to go and subscribe. And sadly, he wasn't videoing at this point.
I did hear about it.
You've heard about it?
Well, not the full story.
The story was, right, we're metal detecting and we're getting tin cans everywhere. And basically, we find out a bit later on, it's the river that's winding its way through this beautiful little countryside is downstream from Stoke sort of thing. So whenever anything floods, out it comes down the drains and the floodplains, and all the tin cans and everything end up in the field. So I'm on one side of the river, and I just said to Shane not very long before, I said, this is the worst bridge ever. Why don't they make bridges for fat people? So I crossed over the bridge to the other side, metal detected for a wee while, and thought, not having much luck, I want to go on the other side of the river. Oh, look, there's a little island in the middle of said river. So I jump onto the middle of the island, all beautiful, and I think to myself, right, throw my machine, throw my spade over the other side of the bank, and I will step onto that little landmass there, pop my leg up, and we're away. Yes, the landmass was erosion, and I tumbled into the river, which was very cooling, given it was like 400 degrees.
Sounds like me.
But I had to sort of like get on up a little bit and roll on like a turtle. Very difficult to get up. He was sad that he missed that, obviously.
But he did buy you cake and beer.
He bought me cake.
A whole cake.
He said he was going to buy me cake. He bought me a family Galaxy Ripple cake, and it was divine. It was divine. And then halfway round, his mate said, do you want a drink? When we'd gone back to the cars, when I was becoming a little bit less moist. And he said, would you like a drink? So yeah, go on then. So we used the Nocta Macro shovel to open several bottles of Old Peculiar, which was most delightful. And then we moseyed on up. And I tell you what, I've got to say it again, the McGrafter shovel, the ground was absolutely solid, and I mean solid. And it was Bob. I have fines. I had 4 little buttons.
Don't let Tony Cawood see them.
Well, actually, one of the buttons wasn't mine, but we swapped machines for a while because Shane wanted to have a go of the Simplex, and he said, have a go of the Vanquish. So I had a Vanquish in my hand for a while. A 1909 Edward Penny, which you can't see because it's obviously green. And this beauty, a bullnose ring.
Bullnose ring, yeah. Nice.
Biggest I've seen, personally. So, yeah, great time. Wasn't as moist other than me being in the river. The ground wasn't moist at all. And but my shaft held up well, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And he's invited me back again. And while I'm off over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to give him a shout to come up to one of my sites as well as a thank you. So there you go.
Good. That's nice to hear. Have you
been out to play?
No. This weekend, I think it's just been too blinking hot. So this weekend, I think, definitely.
I think I pushed myself a little bit too hard as he'll test himself. Physically, it hurt the next couple of days. In fact, I'm still hurting in parts from the walking and whatnot. But I didn't realise how far we'd walked to the second half of the day, only to obviously had to walk back in that heat, and that wiped me out, that did.
Yeah. I don't know. Some days it's really hot and I'm fine. Another day it's really hot and it wears you out. But I don't know, it probably doesn't help drinking the night before. That's probably my problem. drinking a bottle of red wine and then sort of a thimble of water all day. But yeah.
Yes, I might be partaking in such aperitifs this weekend, but we'll see. And again, something we'll talk about later. Anyway, without further ado, we'll bring on tonight's guest, Ken King. Good evening, Ken. Ken's from a Relic radio show in the USA. Good evening.
Hey, evening. Da, 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 da. Some kind of fanfare or something. Hey, guys.
As we said before the show, Ken, and I'm sure all the viewers will say the same, considering you're all the way in the USA, that's the best guest video that I think we've seen.
Excellent.
Fantastic quality.
I take down all my risque posters behind me. Yeah, they're good down. I took all the risque posters down.
Right, there you've made your first mistake of the night, because me and Adrian live for risque posters.
Oh, shoot. Let me go put them up.
You got any Pirelli calendars?
Say again.
Pirelli calendars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean, don't you?
Sure, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Adrian was talking about the heat. Yeah, we're experiencing between like 33 to 38 this week. All week long. It's going to be brutally hot. And it's made it tough getting out to do some detecting, I'll tell you. Ground's really hard. No shade. If you happen to be in the middle of a field where there's no shade, doesn't take you long to give up.
Absolutely. Before we ask you to introduce yourself a little bit better for the benefit of the audience, Ken, where is it you're actually from in America?
I'm in northern Colorado, right dab in the middle. Right
it's not gold country on Freddie Dodge World.
Sure is. We find a lot of smaller gold. A lot of the rivers around here are gold producing rivers, and I do my share of prospecting. I haven't hit any of the tailing piles yet, so I haven't found many nuggets, but I've pulled my share of color out of the rivers here. That's for sure.
Oh, fantastic. I find that so exciting. I don't know if you get it in the USA, but I signed up for, we have Discovery Plus in the UK, which is their Anytime TV, Discovery Channel's Anytime TV, and they're currently playing Aussie Gold Hunters Season 6. I don't know if you get that in America, Aussie Gold Hunters, but a fantastic series, and I'm just I've done 18 episodes back to back this week.
Wow. Sounds like
I'm
a
at
great
work. I watch stuff at work on my break. So, anyway, can you introduce yourself for the benefit of the viewers?
Sure. My name is Ken King. Like I said earlier, I'm in Colorado. I got my family around me. We lived here since 2000. Came from Northern California before that, and currently I am host and co-host of Relics Radio podcast that airs Thursday nights. As a matter of fact, it's coming on a little later for me. Currently, it's about 1:15 in the afternoon here in Colorado, and tonight I'll be going live with our guests, as I do every Thursday night. Much like you guys do. We don't do the video, though. We do just the audio podcasting. And then I also have a YouTube channel that I've been running for the past 4 years, and, Facebook groups. And who would have thought I'd been 53 years old and have all this social media going on, right? Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. It's out there, and gets a little crazy. As I'm sure I see a lot of my friends popping up in the chat that I talk to a lot through my YouTube channel. But who would have thought we'd be at my age and having all this stupid social media? But you got to do it, I guess. Eh?
You're 5 years younger than Adrian, and he does the same.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
What?
10.
We've got someone asking already, is it on Spotify, Ken? And I know, because I listen to it, it is on Spotify.
Yeah, we're on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes. Anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find Relics Radio.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
And we do the same thing, much you guys do without the video. I used to have a video series I used to do called Digger's Spotlight, where I'd bring people on just like this on a live stream and interview notable people, at least in the States here. I've had a couple of people from the UK on over the years, but we'd always do it live, so it's kind of hard to work the timing out. But I used to have that on my YouTube channel quite a bit. And then when I started doing the podcast, I just kind of got away from that. And I haven't been doing the podcast the entire length of its show. It's been on for about 4 years, and I used to be an avid listener of it. And when one of the co-hosts decided he wanted to take a little bit of a break, the host contacted me. The host is Loy. He's Digging with 7 on YouTube, and he started this podcast 4 years ago. So when his partner decided he wanted to take a break, they called me in to fill in, and I've been there ever since for probably about a year and a half now.
Yeah, I'm the same. Oh no, I'm not. That's not the same. Yeah, we started with originally another podcast in America, but a UK version of the podcast that ended. Luke decided that we should carry on. I think we both agreed, really. And that podcast at the start of last year, given it was obviously COVID and people were stuck in the houses, we thought it would be a good idea if we were to give it something more visual so people could watch us instead. Because then we were able to look at finds and things like that and watch little videos. So yes, we've evolved into this, sadly.
Yeah. No, it's good. I watch the show as often as I can. 1 o'clock here when you guys get started. I'm usually finishing lunch or something. And if I happen to have a slow day, I'll definitely watch the show and try to communicate and comment on the chat. So you guys are doing a great job. Great job.
Thanks very much. As are you. We've got one of our regular viewers, Kerry Fuller, who isn't a detectorist. We brought onto the show. She runs a podcast called The Lost Tapes of History Can.
Oh, man.
It's a 15-minute podcast, which basically takes a medieval monarch and introduces them to modern society. So it's a bit of a sketch with them involved, and we've got her into the show. And she's been coming to the events. And today she's got a new T-shirt, which she sent me a picture of, Adrian, in her Danebury Metal Detecting Club T-shirt. If you don't know what that is, Ken, have you watched the Detectorist, the UK TV show?
Absolutely.
That's their club.
Yeah. Great.
Oh,
and
wow.
She's got a shirt.
Oh yes, she'll have a detector next.
So I go, Kerry. That's a great idea, man. Keep doing that. I'm sure everyone in the UK appreciate it, as well as us from over here in the US. I'm always really interested in the monarchy stories and in the history of the monarchy. I have a lot of interest about the UK and even Europe. Really, I got a lot of friends there in the UK. I've been over a couple of times, got a chance to detect once, and I'm always really interested in that side of the history and just learning about it, right? Like anything, we just try to absorb as much as we can. So keep doing that, Kerry. Good on you there.
Absolutely. Yeah. She says she thinks I want commission, but apparently I'm not getting any. So no more shout outs for Kerry. So Ken, how long ago did you start detecting and what got you into the hobby?
Yeah, not much, not very long, maybe 5 years. I've always been sort of a treasure hunter kind of. I think I got it from my father, right? My father was always one of these guys that would try to find some hidden value in something. This is going to be worth something someday. Or he would go to the dumps and drop off all of our garbage and come back with more stuff than he took, thinking he was going to find some rare book or something, bottle collector, that kind of thing. And so it kind of always in my head. And I remember going to the beaches and seeing these old men out there swinging a detector. And I always thought, wow, that would be interesting. You can actually find things. And when I moved here to Colorado in 2000, I got into gold panning with my son. Felt that was a great activity to get into, and it was. And then shortly after that, I thought I got to get a metal detector. My wife was listening, bought me one for Christmas one year, and the rest is history. Like a second find was like a silver 925 ring, and I've been hooked ever since. It's been amazing. Yeah.
What detector did your wife get you, Ken?
She got me an old bounty hunter, real cheap, black market, Black Friday deal. She didn't know what she was buying. She got it for me. And I remember looking up a video. This is where I became aware of YouTube videos. I looked up a video on YouTube on how to use it. There was a guy named the Hunter GT, a channel, the Hunter GT, John, and he had a review video and instructional video on that specific detector. I think it was called like a Time Ranger Pro or something. And he was saying it's a huge sleeper machine. I didn't know any difference, 8-inch concentric coil. It was like 7 megahertz. Took it out, was finding stuff, was tickled pink. It was just fine for me, but it wasn't long until I upgraded, and I started, upgrading. Of course, I think I got 4 or 5 of them now, but like everybody, right? But that was my first one. It really got me hooked. And then I discovered YouTube videos, and then I discovered the community surrounding metal detecting. And then when I started doing my channel, that led into other things later as far as getting to know the worldwide community, really, of metal detecting.
Do you find there's a bigger interest since COVID in the States with people sitting at home thinking, I want to do a hobby? Have you seen an increase in people subscribing to your channel?
I have. And in fact, it really was prompting me to start producing a lot of these beginner videos which I never got around to doing. But at least I'd written down tons of ideas for upcoming videos, and they were all going to be based on beginner videos, how to do it right, how to select a machine, all that kind of stuff, questions to answer. And I just never got around to doing it. I got too busy with work. But yeah, because of the influx I started seeing with interest of people asking questions in the forums about, and then the big explosion of TikTok. I mean, who would have thought I'd been on TikTok? But I saw a huge explosion on TikTok of metal detecting videos, which just generated a ton of interest of what kind of machine should I get? What kind of machine can I get for $150? You know, those kind of questions. So definitely more interest since COVID hit. Because it's kind of a solitary thing, right? You can kind of get out in a big field and not be around anybody and stay active and gain an interest in history.
Could you metal detect when COVID was on? Because in the UK we weren't allowed.
Yeah, I understand that. Like I said, I've got a lot of friends over in the UK that were sharing with me their stories about how locked down you were. And fortunately, we could, Dave. We could get out. We didn't have that big of a I mean, there was the restrictions. We had the restrictions like anywhere else. But as long as you could maintain your distance and get out and not gather in groups, and you could do solitary things on private property, yeah, no one was stopping you from doing that. So we could still get out. And a lot of us stayed active through it.
We were all metal detecting in our gardens. So a lot of people were
saying that, Adrian, people might mock the fact that we metal detect in our gardens, but look what happened to metal detecting Emily.
Well, yeah, true. I found a purse bar, medieval purse bar, and a token, and I found some good stuff in my garden. But yeah, no, our houses are obviously built on sites that are many hundreds of years old, so there's a lot of stuff, a lot of trash, but there's a lot of good stuff as well. But yeah, it was a struggle. It was a struggle not being able to go out and detect. But there were certain rules, like if you fell ill in the field, they'd have to send an ambulance out, and if you had a car crash and all that sort of stuff. But it's back now. We're back out now.
Yeah, there was some personal responsibility people had to take. You know, like I would never go out if I felt like I had to get gas, type of thing, and any kind of extra stress. I mean, getting gas would be, you know, only if I really needed it, type of thing. You know, I was working from home. Everyone was staying home. And I stayed home as much as possible. But every now and then when I felt they were allowing us to get out to have exercise. And as long as you could maintain distance and wear a mask and all that stuff, we were doing that. And some of the exercise we got was walking out in the middle of a field. And but, you know, through all that, staying in contact with all my YouTube friends from the UK, just seeing how miserable everybody was. But I was so impressed because at least all my friends that I'm friends with over there were maintaining and complying with the recommendations and the regulations. And, you know, I only heard word of a kind of few people that kind of went out and beyond that, but which you're going to have, right? But, you know, most people did the right thing, and, you know, hats off to you guys for that.
You might have noticed I put my glasses on during your last little bit of the conversation. Tony Kaywood and Kerry Fuller have decided that in the chat room that you and I are separated at birth for some reason. Don't know why. So I thought I'd put my glasses on to see if that was actually the case, and I can't see.
What's your mother's name?
Dorothy.
No, can't say that we are. I'll take it, though. I'll take it.
And on the back of that, Darren Booth asks, "Do you like cake, Ken?"
Oh boy, no, I do not like cake.
Not my brother. Definitely not my brother.
Meat cake. I like meat cake.
Ooh, meat cake.
Meat cake.
Meat cake. Yeah.
So, do you get out detecting much, Ken?
Yeah. Not as much as I would like, of course. I'm still working dark to dark. And when I get home, you know, I have the podcast, I got my YouTube channel, other activities, full-time family man. We just bought a new home. So so not as much as I would like to, but I do try to get out as much as possible. I'm on Ring Finders Network, so sometimes I get called out for a ring return. And I got some hunting buddies of mine that really stepped up and started doing a bunch of the permission gathering and stuff a little further south of me. And so about every other weekend, I can get out with them and do some detecting all day long. And it feeds my soul enough to keep me satiated.
Yeah. So that's a big problem over here. You've obviously heard getting permissions to metal detect, because I'm right in the States. You can just go to Walmart, buy a detector, and then go to your local park, can't you, and detect?
Yeah, pretty much. As long as you know the regulations, but pretty much, yeah, the parks are pretty much open. Other areas are pretty much open. I also belong to a local treasure hunting club here in Denver. I'm a board member there. And one of the big things we try to put forth is the code of ethics and rules and regulations, and what cities around this Colorado area you can dig at, which ones you can't, which ones you have to probe dig. You guys familiar with probe digging? Mm-hmm. Where you actually use a small probe to actually, pop a coin or something like that. Of course, you'd never do that on anything old or valuable. But if you're just going to go coin detecting, coin popping in a park or something like that, going for clad coins or something, just having some fun. Some parks don't allow you even to use a hand digger. So you got to know what the rules are and respect the rules and try and make it good for the rest of us. You know what I mean?
So it's different laws for different states.
Different states, even different cities, different counties. We have one county where we're actually detecting now, called Douglas County, that has a lot of history here in Colorado. Well, I talk to you guys about history. When I'm talking history, I'm talking, in Colorado, we only go back to about 1850. So for us, that's our history here. And Douglas County has about the longest history with some real old sites of when the soldiers came this way, because all the citizens started pushing from the east to the west to sort of, when the gold hit California in 1849, they all started pushing west. They came through Colorado and they found gold in the mountains here in Colorado, so they decided to stay. We had a lot of Native American battles here, a lot of Indian battles, and they sent a lot of soldiers this way, right as the American Civil War was starting. So we do find Civil War soldier era type items here, but of course, the soldiers that were here weren't fighting in the American Civil War. But it's still cool to find those things. When you can find those things in the 1850s, you're finding about as old as you can find here, So, yeah.
What's the process if you do find something from the 1850s? Do people offer it at the local museum, or is there any law on what you do with it?
Yeah, there was really no laws around that. We don't have some of the restrictions you guys have there in the UK with the Treasure Act and the Antiquity Scheme, but we have common respect usually we're on private property when we're finding things that are old. You're not usually finding things old in a park necessarily. Mm-hmm. And if you do, there's really no reporting processes that you should do. Some of the land jurisdictions, the land ownership, have different requirements depending on how old the item is. So when you get up in the mountains, you get up in some of the national forests, if you do happen to get permission for that, because you're not supposed to do national forests, but you can ask the local rangers, and if they give you permission for it, you can. If you find anything over 100 years old, you're supposed to leave it in the ground and not take it, or you're not supposed to take away anything over 100 years old. So we respect that. But down on private property, you can take anything you find. We usually offer it back to the homeowner, the landowner, and if they care for anything, they're welcome to it, usually. And every detectorist is different with that. Some will talk to them ahead of time about that and be like, hey, anything we find of value, let's split it 50-50. Much like, you guys do there if things are being sold. But usually it's just, hey, I'm going to show you what I find. If you want anything, it's your land. You're welcome to it. But I'm a collector. And so this is what I just store it. I don't sell it. I usually just collect and look at it, all my dirty objects. Usually they don't want stuff. But as detectors, a lot of times we'll create little Riker boxes of finds, clean them up, and present them back to the landowner. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Adrian can often be found looking at dirty objects too. Just jumping into the chat room, just say hello to a few people we haven't seen for a while, and some obviously we have: Gareth Howard, Philip Wills, Tony Kaywood, Graham Dempsey, Costas Constantino, Kurt Bogdan, Mark Watson, Steve Patterson. Who else we got? Adventures in Dirt. Wonder who that is. Nick Metal Detecting. Where are we? I've lost now.
Lee Hull.
Lee Hull. No, I said Lee. No, I'm not there yet. That's why.
Sorry.
Lee Hull. Chris Langston from Metal Detecting Holidays, who I think we need to have him on the show again. I know you've not spoken to him before, have you? We did a different show.
Lovely photos on Instagram.
Absolutely. Simon Hadlow. I don't know if I said that. Well, good evening to everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Spread the word, etc., etc. Where were we? Oh, and Ben Carlisle. I forgot Ben Carlisle. That's why. He's just recovered from our dig day today. That's the when we went out last Saturday. 'Tis he who showed me how to open beer bottles with a shovel. What could be better?
Dear. How do you? How often do you? How long do you go out for, Ken, when you go detecting or treasure hunting or relic hunting?
Yeah. When I'm doing it, on a seriously private property where we've researched the area, we'll go all day. So, sort of get out there at 7 a.m. in the morning, and by about 4, being out in the heat like that, we're usually ready to call it. We usually don't break for lunch too much. Maybe a quick sandwich on the run, water, of course, and those little cooling towels. Boy, those things sure work. I'm telling you, if you guys don't use those, check them out. They're really great. But that's about it. About 4, we're pretty beat and tired and ready to kind of call it. But other times, if I'm going to go hit a park or something close by, I'll usually go an hour, 2 hours, just for a little dirt therapy and call it. Yeah. How about you guys? What about you guys? Like you guys now, when I went to England, I'll tell you about that trip a little bit later, but when I was able to graciously dig in your country, it was a much different story.
I can't, obviously the only instances that I've got to be able to talk about American detecting and what we've seen is KG and Ringy's show, American Diggers, when that was on in the UK, and YouTube videos. I don't think we've really. Oh, and Curse of Oak Island and such like. We've not had much access otherwise to American content, have we, in the UK, Adrian?
No, not really. No.
Well, when I personally go detecting, like this week, normally if I was going to my own permission somewhere, I'd be there for 8 o'clock, probably stay till 2, 3 o'clock. This weekend I've just gone. I got there for about 10:30, and by 4 o'clock I was dying on my feet. So that 5 hours was probably a little bit too much. But what about you, Adrian?
Yeah, I mean, I go out, Ken, Fridays after work. It depends. This time of the year in the UK, we've got a lot of crops on the fields, so there's not a lot of land we can detect on, a bit of pasture, but the ground's very hard. But they're going to start harvesting soon. So as soon as they start harvesting, it's like Christmas shopping for all detectorists, obviously. So I'll be out Friday afternoons, probably Saturdays in the evening, and normally all day Sunday. Sunday's my day detecting. So I test metal detectors. Well, I don't test them. I review them. Well, I do test them for a magazine in the UK. So I do test them, yeah. But I test them, Dave, because you always see.
It's not that I'm going to try not to say.
And so I have different detectors. So I'll have a machine for like 3 months, and I'll go out just literally caning that machine and then write a review on it. So I have different detectors, and I write articles on in the magazine on them. But yeah, I try and get out. If my dream, if probably when I was 21, if you'd have said to me, what would your dream be when you were 50? I'd probably say own a speedboat, have a mansion, and a private jet. Whereas now it'd just be, I'd like to live in a house with loads of land and detect on it every day. And that's all I'd want, really. It's not, as you get older, you get wiser, and you find the metal detecting's mine and many others' medicine, and it clears your head, doesn't it? And it's such a great hobby. And like you were saying, we're very fortunate in this country to have a lot of history. And you can also blow yourself up with a World War II bomb or hand grenade if you dig that up as well. So it's exciting. But yeah, it's interesting that you came over here. And whereabouts did you dig in England?
I came over with a group of YouTubers. We were calling ourselves the Dirty Dozen because all 12 of us were YouTubers from the States. 2 guys were from Germany, actually. They were Americans living in Germany. And we came over to the Colchester area and dug with that.
Oh, yeah, that's near me.
Over that, yeah.
That's near me.
Yeah. So
we've got a good friend ourselves, me and Luke, US detectorist living in Germany, Lance Goolsby of Global Detection Adventures.
Well, They
haven't
find
heard
some
from him.
stuff there, don't they? Boy, I tell you.
Oh, he does. I'll have to check up on him soon. I've not heard from him for a while.
Yeah.
And what is your current machine that you're using?
Current machine I'm using as my main is called a Technetics T2 Classic. It's a great gold machine, but it's also a great relic machine. I just got really used to that. And you know how you use the machine, I really know that one. I also have a Patriot, what they call Technetics Patriot. I really got into the First Texas products, but I bought it. Neither one of them are waterproof. So I bought one of those new Simplex machines that came out not too long ago by Nocta Macro. And now I want a Knox, so that'll be my next purchase, I'm sure. But the T2 finds me plenty of stuff.
I'm currently using a Simplex. You've got a Knox, haven't you, Adrian?
Yeah, I've got a Knox and a Simplex. Yeah, yeah. So, and no, the Knox, good machine. Yeah. But the Technetics T2, an excellent machine, lovely machine. I had one probably 2 or 3 years ago. They did a special edition one, didn't they?
They did that limited edition. I didn't get in on that and just stayed with. I missed there was a window you could send in your classic and have them turn it into a limited.
Oh, really?
And they would have done that for free at one point. And there was a window that I, of course, right, just missed that I did. But hey, like I said, I find plenty of stuff with it. I hunt in all metal modes most of the time, and it's just, it's those sounds before the tone and the sounds after the tone that say a lot about it. And
it's a great machine.
You know that. Yeah.
When you say that you detect in all metal mode, we understand it's a lot of sites in the US there's a hell of a lot of laden with iron and nails and such like. How do you counteract that with your settings?
Yeah, I just go have a drink. I'll leave that for somebody else that has a PI machine or something, a pulse induction machine. No, there are. Every now and then you run up against ironized soil, a lot of mineralized soil, or even overhead power lines sometimes will run interference. The T2 has a frequency select on it, so you can change frequencies and sometimes help you out with that. But in a lot of the places we dig, we want to find that iron. We are looking for the iron, because you find those iron patches in the middle of a big field, you're on a house site or an old facility site. And you just start picking that stuff out and clearing it out and cleaning it over a couple hunts maybe. And you're finding some interesting items like, what's this thing? It's a gear from something, oh, this used to be a cheese factory. So you start getting through that. And then a lot of the good stuff, a lot of the old relics and coins and such will be deeper. And you just got to get through some of that stuff. So either you put on a real small coil to sort of laser pick through it, snipe through it, or you just got to do the work and get through that iron. I went to Virginia, the state of Virginia, to dig a Civil War site for a hunt they call Digging in Virginia. There's some events they have there called Digging in Virginia, where much like the events you guys do, they'll go out and grab an area that used to be a camp, a Civil War camp for the Civil War soldiers here from the American Civil War. And they'll bring you out there, pay for the event and go out there. And that was just crazy. And so you have to pretty much have a pulse induction machine there to get through the very high red clay dirt ironized soil there, because the T2 wouldn't have done anything. And the first time I swung a GPX 5600, something like that, 4800, I had to borrow it from a friend. And big machine, no VDI, just all tone, super heavy, about wore my arm off. But yeah, it was a new way of detecting those PI machines. And but I'm glad I got that experience and found some things. So that was a lot of fun.
It's a good point you make there with the iron content in the field representing a building that's fallen down. Personally, I've not thought of that, but it would obviously occur not only in the UK but the rest of the world as well, Adrian.
Yeah, I watched. I think it was the Hunter GT, Ken. I'm not sure. A while back, people who specifically look for the toilets.
Yeah, privies are a wealth of great finds. Yeah. There's another thing they look for, and then usually they'll probe those with a big long metal probe to see if they're hitting glass, to see if there's any bottles. Because sometimes they threw the old bottles into privy, and sometimes they didn't. Just depends on the farmer or whoever lived there previously out here. But usually we're in the middle of these large 300 acre, 500 acre, 600 acre plots of field, and we're just wandering. We look on an old map maybe and see there was some kind of structure there, but it's not pinpointed. And LiDAR's not huge here to really help detect that. Some areas LiDAR helps, but you're looking around and you're just trying to find those iron scrap areas because that's where they tore it all down. When you start finding square nails, old square nails, rose head square nails, you become an aficionado on these old square nails because it can help you tell some of the age. And like I said, we're in Colorado. We're only looking back to 1850. So anything we can find, a big iron patch in the middle of a big empty field, because normally you're not hitting any signals at all. We didn't have a lot of history here, so they're just wide open fields. When the American Indians roamed the plains here, they didn't use a lot of metal. Every now and then you can find something called a kettle point, where when they started trading with the Europeans and stuff, they trade them these iron barrel bands that they would then cut arrowheads out of. And every now and then you can find those, and they're an amazing find when you can. They call those kettle points. But the majority of the time, you're not finding any metal that is associated with Native Americans. You do, though, a lot of the areas you hunt, if you happen to find an elevated place near water, you're looking down and you're listening to tones, and your eyes are scanning for some type of odd rock that's standing out amongst the gravel and pebble mixed into the rest of the land. And you're just looking for that because you can find arrowheads and points from Native American, and sometimes those can be 3,000, 4,000 years old, and that's in Colorado. That's about the oldest we can go, or even older with monolithic and all that stuff. But that's what we got, so we have fun with what we got.
So if you notice me moving a lot, it's because I'm hot and sweaty and I keep putting my elbows down and sliding off the table.
Yeah, I got my dogs barking, whining at the door. I've got a house full of company up top. My mother's visiting. She's 86 years old. She's only taken a flight twice in her life on a plane, and she came out here to visit us, me and my wife. And some of my cousins, some of her nieces, came in from Montana, so a few states above us, to surprise her, come in and visit with her. So they're all upstairs visiting, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go join this podcast. And they might be watching right there. So, hey, how you guys doing? You're just
bring them downstairs. Bring them on the show.
Yeah, you should bring them on the show.
If you guys are watching, come on down. Just open my studio door and come on in. But I don't know if they are or not. They're probably busy visiting, and I bought them all lunch, and they're all snacking on lunch right now.
Oh, cool. Share. It's lunchtime, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tea time in the UK. So, Sorry, going back to you came over to the UK. When did you come over, and what brought it on?
I came over in February 2020. From February 22nd to the 29th.
Oh, that was close.
So close. Like the next group behind us didn't make it, right? Because I think March 10th is when they really closed everything down. But when I went back, we'll get to where I was detecting all this stuff. But when I went back, I got on the plane at Heathrow to come back. Large, intercontinental plane, right? All the video screens were in Chinese. Chinese writing on every video screen, and I was looking around, had mask on and looking around, and it just gave me the creeps. I don't know why, just all the news that was coming out at that time when things were just kicking around with, China being the bad place, you're having all the problems really, and before we all got lambasted with it. But all these Chinese writing was like, I don't want to touch anything. But what sparked it was there's another YouTuber. His name's Plugmaster Ford. He's from Missouri here in the States, and he contacted me and said, hey, we're putting a group together to go to England. And I'd been over once before visiting friends, but it wasn't in detecting back then, back in '96. And so he said, would you love to go on? I couldn't respond with yes fast enough. He said, we were going through this group out of Colchester, and he said, we're going with all YouTubers, Nugget Nugget's going. There's like all these other YouTubers going. And I knew them all, so I thought this is just going to be a blast. I hadn't always met them all. I just over online and stuff. And, I feature an awful lot of YouTubers. I got a show I put on every Sunday called The Weekly Dirt on my YouTube channel, where I actually feature finds from all other channels. I don't feature any of my own finds on that channel. I just showcase clips from multiple channels that I got permission from to show their clips. And I kind of introduce them and talk about what they're about. And, some people doesn't have a lot of time to watch videos. They can come over to that show on Sundays and kind of catch up to at least what we're finding here across the world. Sometimes I feature a lot of channels from the UK, some from like Germany and Holland and Italy and Japan, but a lot from the States. and it's sort of a way for people to get motivated, get caught up on what's going on, some finds people find. And I edit them together real tight, and it's only about 10 or 12 minutes. But in doing that, I'm on my 191st show of that. And in doing that, I've met a lot of YouTubers, one reaching out to them, asking them permission, or at least they're reaching out, thanking me for featuring their channel. It helps give some exposure to them and their channel that maybe people did never notice, expose them to my audience, and it helps me produce content. There's no ways about that. I wanted to create a show that would kind of help the community enlarge the YouTube community, but also, be able to produce content to put something out, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to produce YouTube content with my finds. I mean, finding sometimes boring stuff, pieces of scrap iron and stuff. And although how you tell the story, you can make it interesting, I just knew that wasn't going to be very sustainable for me. So I came up with that idea for the Weekly Dirt, and it's turned out great. A lot of great response to that.
Well, our suave producer up top there has suggested that we have a brief clip of a few minutes of one of your episodes.
Yeah, sure.
If he's got that lined up. If he's not, it will be coming on momentarily, no doubt.
Great. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll keep talking. If he wants to just throw it up, we'll throw that up. That'd be great. Keep him on his toes, right? If he didn't know about it, he knows about it now.
One of the questions, Luke's actually putting some questions in the private chat, and one of them he had was about LiDAR, which you mentioned that you're not very, the US hasn't utilized that tool as well as we are in the UK at the moment. So what are you using similar to that in the US?
Yeah, nothing really similar to LiDAR. I don't think there's much like that. You do have a lot of old photographs from about the 40s, late 1940s onward. But mainly we do a lot of plot maps from the old days, just from the 1800s, late 1800s, 1870s. There's some fire insurance type maps that people kind of did by hand to show you where the buildings were. So we just try to find as many old maps and old stories and old newspaper articles and all kinds of stuff to try to find out where those people were gathering.
Go on then, Luke. Press play.
The things are being found out there with metal detectors, and right here every Sunday, I show them to you, pulled from across the world on this show I call the Weekly Dirt. Hey, to kick things off, let's head to Maryland. That's right. Let's check in with Kurt and the rest of the Hoover boys as they were pulling the goods out of the ground. Check this out this week from the Hoover boys. Watch this.
What? Is that right there?
Yeah, what is that?
That's a Merc, bro.
All right.
Right then. First signal
First
today.
hole silver. 26. Mark scored himself a winged Liberty dime. The old Mercury dime, 1926. John's got his first desirable with his new machine.
Hey.
Awesome. A little bag seal, huh? Very good. Hey ho, it's an episode.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that first year? It's a flying eagle, it's not an Indian.
Oh, really? Nice.
He got a flying eagle.
Yeah, buddy.
He's digging a button signal. 13. And I was digging a coin signal. I got a shotgun slug, deer slug, and he's got a tomback button.
No shank.
No shank. Any design?
Doesn't look like it.
But it's a really good sign of the older stuff in this area.
Oh, it's flat like a button.
I think I got some old muck.
Awesome.
Have a design. Might have a little edge design, but out pops that little guy. I think it's a coin. Out of the hole, it beeps a 76. It does look thin, but I can make out barely part of the bottom part of the bust and the face facing to the right. I believe it's going to be a Liberty Cap half cent. Not too often you find a half cent minted in the United States from the 1700s. That's a great find. Johnny's got a copper.
Yes.
Oh, she was down there, huh?
Yeah, man.
You worked for that one. Yes, sir. Right into the toothpick.
This is how we do it.
Save the foo-foo for the pressure. Don't be tapping on me. Trying to get my close-up, bro. We have a Jersey copper. Kind of faint to see, but that's the horse's head and the plow underneath of it.
Hey, from Maryland, let's head to Pennsylvania and check in with Jason. He's with the Quarter Hoarder. He's digging with PA Pirate Paul and Charlie from Heritage Relic Hunters. I'm telling you, pulling the goods. Even Doug makes a special appearance. Check this out. Here's Jason.
What's up, guys? Court Order here. Out today, PA Pirate Paul, Charlie the Heritage Relic Hunter, Doug.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's mainly it. Just usually probably feature 4 or 5 channels. Sometimes we'll talk about giveaways going on, let people know about giveaways or any events. Somebody asked a question earlier about rallies here in the States, and whenever I know about those, we definitely have them. I'll put those announcements into things. So kind of like a news program for the metal detecting community. Yeah, it's been pretty well received, and people, like I said, people enjoy being featured, and people enjoy kind of watching at the end of the week and getting caught up on things. Yeah.
I think go on, you first, Adrian.
Wait, what's the channel called again, Ken?
Adventures in Dirt. Adventures in Dirt. Yeah, you search that anywhere in Google or whatever, you'll find all kinds of stuff come up on that. I've been doing about 4 years, but that is the impetus that kind of led me to coming to England. Is, you know, everyone knows me from that YouTube channel. I was really interested. You guys called me over here to talk about the podcast because more people know me about from the YouTube channel, even though I'm happy to talk about the podcast because I'm really proud of it and the stuff we do there. But yeah, it was just a bunch of YouTubers. Ken, you want to be a part of this? Yeah, of course I do. Let's go. We're calling ourselves the Dirty Dozen. And yeah, and so yeah, we got together and took that trip. And hats off to the Colchester Club for putting on a great hunt and bringing us over. Great vacation, great holiday there. Good club as well. Yeah, a lot of history. Fantastic website they have as well. Oh my goodness.
Oh, some of the finds identification on there. I refer to it a lot of the time. In fact, on our website, orcmdmag.com, we refer to that on multiple occasions because their identification is second to none.
Yeah, and did you go to Colchester Museum, Ken?
I didn't get a chance to. We were hunting from sun up to sundown. Oh. We were on the go, man. I tell you, when we flew into Heathrow. They had pulled a bunch of permits to do some mudlarking, and I really wanted to do that, get that experience. But I also have some friends. I have a friend in Drayton, St. Leonard that I hadn't seen forever. And he picked me up at the airport and took me to his house, got to meet his wife and see his place. And I chose to do that instead of going out with the group and do some mudlarking. Met up with them in the hotel that night, and the next morning the vans picked us up, and we went out to the Birds Farm out there in Colchester, and we were at it. I've never been so tired in my life. I'll tell you what, man, we detected our butts off. I'm telling you.
Did you go to English pub?
Yeah, I believe we went to a couple of them. Yeah. They brought us out to a couple. I can't remember the names of them there, but it was near Elmstead Market. We were kind of over in that area. And
the problem you would have had though, Ken, is that in the south of England, beer is not as strong as in the north of England. It's more of a like it's mixed with lemonade down below the Watford Gap.
Ignore him, Ken.
I think 90% of the chat room will agree with me, Adrian. You'll be sure of that. In fact, this weekend I'll be at an event myself up in Detecticon in Northumberland, which is towards Newcastle in England. I'm sure you'll know of Newcastle, so it's not a far distance from that you would travel, but for me it's 3.5 hours, and that'll be like a lifetime. You know, we what else have we got coming? We've got the Rodney Cook the first weekend in September. We've got Detectable the second weekend in September, which tickets are on sale for that now on the website detectable.com. And has the Rodney Cook got a new website as well, Adrian?
Soon.
Yeah, you've heard inklings of that, have you?
Yeah.
And
soon we'll be able to take, not this year, next year, payments for tickets online rather than phoning up Gary's wife and emailing her and doing it. So it will all be automated, bless him. But yeah, and well done to Detectable, £10,000 cheque handed over this week to charity.
Yes, absolutely. Can't beat. You know what? These rally groups, they do get taken. They get a lot of knocks, but at the end of the day, the monies that they do bring to charity in the UK, especially during the COVID era, where charitable donations aren't as good as they were, aren't as big as they were, then they're doing a lot for charity, as I say, as a Rodney Cook as well, and other groups as well. So kudos to them. They should be supported.
I think Rodney Cook is a prime example, like Detectival. Rodney Cook's only had 2 rallies, hasn't he? 2018, 2019. And from that money, they've funded a cancer room in the hospital named after Gary's dad, Rodney. So just 2 weekends has paid for a cancer room in a hospital. I mean, that's good. That's really good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to ask you as well. I mean, I've heard of, we had Nathan Matthews on from Pound the Ground last year, which was fascinating because, again, it's a totally different concept. Metal detecting to what it is in the UK, any rallies where he's buying a bulk load of silver before the event and he's planting that throughout the site and you're going out getting that as well as the potential of getting other relics and such like as well. So that was a totally new concept to us. And then there's the Charles Garrett Memorial Rally. Is that right?
That's right.
And that's one of the biggest in the US as well.
That's correct. Yeah. Garrett sponsors that. It pulls in a lot of detectorists. And it's just hard finding, wild fields, wild land that has a lot of potential detectoring, items and relics on it. I think they did a pretty good job. I went to the Pound of Ground in 2019 when they had that hunt up in upstate New York. And they had, 8-9 fields, 200, 300 acres each to hunt. And there was an old town site there. So they had really done a great job of selecting some potentially great property to hunt. And then they had a planted hunt that you could participate in where you're right. They did plant a bunch of silver in the ground, just kind of gives you an opportunity to go out there and find some cool silver. But the wild hunts are always what I'm more interested in, even though here at my club here in Denver that I belong to, it's called the Eureka Treasure Hunters Club. Pretty big club, 100, 150, 120 members. Every month we'll do a seeded hunt, a planted hunt, just for our members at some park, just to have fun. Matter of fact, I have the one coming up in August. I have to sponsor, and I'm hosting the hunt coming up in August it's called the Dog Days of Summer Hunt. And I'm going to plant a bunch of silver out there kind of the night before, the morning of, and then because we don't really want to dig up the park. So we plant them real shallowly, just basically tuck them under the grass. Gives our members, something to go out, gather, have a social event. Now that we're released to do that, we don't have any restrictions on us, and we can do that. And this year, what I did is I reached out to my friends, my metal detecting friends, and said, hey, would all you that are my friends that maybe find things that we don't find here in Colorado, would you be willing to send me some stuff, some items that maybe you find a ton of, old mini ball 3-ringer bullets from the American Civil War, whatever, croto bells, things that maybe you have a lot of that you wouldn't mind releasing a few of them. And then what I'll do is I'll create these little find packs and make little cards telling where they came from, what YouTube channel they were from. If they happen to find them on film, I'll write down the video name. And then I'll plant little dog tags out in the field that have numbers on them, like associated with prize packs. And they'll be able to get a little prize pack of some cool relics that maybe they find in Maine or in New Hampshire or older areas of our United States here, further east, that maybe we don't find here in Colorado. And they did. People have been responding like crazy. I've even had a couple guys from the UK say, I'm going to send you some stuff.
We'll have to get Tony, send him some buttons.
Yeah, Tony Kaywood. He's our specialist button hunter here in the UK. No, he's not really, but he does find a lot of them. We mock him. We mock him. What, Ken, what's your sort of dream find in the States that you haven't dug up yet?
Yeah, that's a good question. I ask people that all the time, and I never think of what my answer would be for. No, my gosh, there's a lot on my bucket list. There's a lot of things I think I would love to find. Here in Colorado, because of the age here, like any kind of seeded, what we call a seeded Liberty coin from the 1850 period would be great. Here's an answer for you, because I have said this before. I'm really big into genealogy. My family genealogy. I've been studying it for 7-8 years, trying to pull it together for my family because a lot of us just didn't know our heritage here in the States. We just didn't know. And even where they came from sort of over, across the pond and stuff. So I've been researching that. And my goal, and I haven't done it yet, my goal would be to research one of my lands, plot of lands that was gifted to them from the American government back in the times they were doing that in the late 1800s. Go there, find the owner, approach the owner, get the permission, detect it, and find something that I could tie into my family in some way or fashion. If I found something that had a K on it or something that said King, that I was in that plot of land that I knew their homestead used to be on, it would be over. Like, that would be it for me. So something sentimental, something historic like that touched me personally probably would be the very top of my list.
Yeah, it's funny actually, because I was only talking about this the other week. My grandfather, who got me into metal detecting when I was, well, very small, he had a lot of land and a forest, and he built a house. And I'd love to go detecting over the land he lived on for 40, 50 years, just to find, whether it's a cigarette lighter or just something small, penknife, the sort of things you lose. I'd love to do that, detect on family land that goes back in the past. But I've never thought about asking. Maybe if I asked.
You realise what would happen in your case if that was it. Your granddad would be, if he's anything like you, he'd have buried a big sign like the famous video of the devil on the beach.
Oh yeah, with TWAT. Yeah.
That's off me granddad.
He used to bury cars. He used to bury Model T Fords and stuff like that in his garden.
Wow.
Those days, the easiest way to get rid of it. He had a big air raid shelter, so he buried a lot of cars in that and filled it in. But I've never thought. It's something which I've got to follow up on. That'd be quite interesting for me.
My co-host on Relics Radio, his name's Lloyd Milam, Milam, and on YouTube, he's Digging with Seven, and he hunts a lot of old American Civil War sites. He's back in Tennessee and Kentucky, and we were on the show one time, and it's a listener. We have a live chat and a call-in number that people can call in, and a live chat going on during the podcast. And then they carried it over to his Facebook page, and some other guy, right, found a Civil War belt buckle. Sometimes you've seen them. People find them here in the States. It's got a U.S. on it, and it's a brass belt buckle. And on the back of it was scribed Milam.
Wow.
And so they got to talking, and although there's no exact proof, the area he found it in is where his grandfather was stationed and where he was at. And there's just no doubt that belonged to his either great grandfather or grandfather. And just amazing, right? That this community would connect you like that. And he was able to return it to Loy and gave it to him. This belonged to your ancestor. I want you to have it. Pretty amazing.
So you do have history. You do have history. Nice history, don't they, Dave?
Certainly do. Absolutely.
Yeah, we have history. When we can find it, we love it. I mean, no matter what it is. I know to tag on to that, Adrian, here in Colorado, I kind of felt, I still do sometimes feel like, 1850, where you can get into the 1600s, 1700s if you go further east. And I'm always envious of those detectors out there able to find that stuff here in the States where I can't really find that kind of stuff here. And it was another YouTuber, another podcaster actually, had me on as a guest. And he said, you know what, Ken, Colorado is so important to our history here in the United States because people were pushing west. And the things you're finding there in the mining camps that people brought and lived with and dropped and that you can then associate to some type of piece of history and what people were experiencing in that period of time. It's really important to the evolution of the United States as people push from the east to the west. And I just never had thought about that before. Crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And now I have this new appreciation to when I find things. I'm like, oh, we're not finding these out east. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still would love opportunity to go dig out east when I have the opportunity to. And I have so many friends now out there with this YouTube thing that I'm always getting invitations to come over. As a matter of fact, when I was in the UK, that was a real hard part for me because a number of people reached out to me and said, man, do you have any time you can break away to come detect with me? I think Scotty invited me out. There was a number of people that invited me out. And I just didn't. I had to make a choice. Do I stay with my group and just keep digging every day in Colchester area? Or do I break away for a day and go visit some of my friends in the UK? And I made the decision to stick with my group. But the next time I'm out, I'll be tapping on some of your shoulders saying, let's go dig.
I think the best thing for you to best thing for you to do when you come over is coincide it with September. Come to Detectable. All the YouTubers from America will be there, and all the other UK YouTubers will be there. So it's just one big happy family.
Mm.
When do they usually roll in the fields? Like around November time period? Is that a good time? September?
Yeah, end of August, September. Yeah, yeah. So
they've just had the cut up here this week.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of farming vehicles, but I haven't seen any fields.
Oh, I have driving back and to from work, see loads of them. Do you know these small worlds and similarities between me and Aaron Weedle, South Coast Detective? We're both ex-Ghostbusters, or I'm an ex-Ghostbuster, I think he still is. We both worked at Butlins at different times, at different parks. And it looks like he's from Winsford, which is about 10 minutes from my house. And it looks like he's up there this weekend, where I'll be going up north to Tyne as well. All these small things. And it was Gareth Howard. He has a good friend in Sandbach, which, again, my wife's sister lives in Sandbach, which isn't very far away at all. Very small world. Come to Detectable, says Tony K. Wood.
I would love to.
Alan Hyde says the enthusiasm of the American detecting community is incredible. Hats off to them. There seems to be a hell of a lot less politics involved in American metal detecting, where in the UK it is ridiculous.
Well, even going back to permissions, trying to get permission over here, Ken, is very hard for some people. You know, you want to go out metal detecting, and you know, people have got YouTube videos on it and Facebook posts and books even, and you know, if your face doesn't fit or you don't come across right, he won't let you on the land. I know plenty of permissions near me that have literally big permissions that, well, they're not permissions, fields that have never been detected on because the farmer just doesn't want anyone on it. He never has done it, and he never will. And it's such a shame, because when you do get a chance to get on there, you do bring up some amazing stuff, which is my next question. What did you find in Colchester?
What did we find in Colchester? We found buttons, lots of buttons, lots and lots of buttons.
Did you find a hammered?
I did not find a hammered. I'm the only one in the group that didn't find a hammered. I did find a bullhead. I did find a sixpence, bullet sixpence. And I found a Roman coin too, which was absolutely amazing. And it was wiped though. It was a bronze wiped. But after that, somebody from my viewing audience on YouTube contacted me and said, send me a picture of it. I've got a friend that works for the British Museum. He specializes in Roman coins, and we'll see if we can get that identified for you. And to his best guess, he has it identified. And it's just amazing. I just didn't think they could. There's a little video on my YouTube channel about that called My Roman Coin, and you can watch it. It's like a little short video, less than 50 seconds, I think. And I kind of show an overlap of a good coin or not. Yeah, so if you guys can hear me, and my battery just died on my camera, and I'm going to go ahead and switch it out.
We can hear you. Okay. No problem. Yeah, Ken's just warned us his battery's about to go with his camera, so he'll disappear for a few minutes. Hopefully he'll be back. If not, he's more than welcome to come back on the show anytime. And we've got the Diggers Dips draw in a few moments anyway. But fascinating. Originally, when I started to watch YouTube videos regarding metal detecting, the whole American thing didn't really appeal to me, because in my head, the history isn't as great as ours. But then obviously KG and Ringy were the first sort of mainstream, along with Gary Brunn and Gordon Heritage, the first mainstream metal detecting show on British TV, weren't they?
Yeah, I think,
and it attracted me, because some of the things they were finding, I was like, "That's nice. I'd love to see that. I'd love to find that."
You know, we are so fortunate just to go out in the field, and in a day we can find a couple of hammers if you're lucky, crotal bells, sort of clay pipes, Roman coins. Is so much. Whereas
hold on, Adrian, go back there. Right, I found no crotal bells. I found two only ever found two hammered coins, and I found nothing Roman. So that counts me out. You're
not out as much, are you? To be fair, you don't like Literally, no. So some people have never found a hammered, but I find crotal bells a hard one because even with sort of a very basic machine, you should be able to get a crotal bell because they're, you know.
Shane and I were actually discussing this on while we were detecting with Ben on Saturday about the crotal bells and such like that. I said I've never found one. He's never found one ever, but it's mad, absolutely mad, the difference in different areas.
My mate James has got over 50, I think. He's
joking.
No, he's got loads of them. He's got so many. He's decorated them and puts them on his Christmas tree. And
yeah, you see, if it was me, I'd actually attached them to leather straps, put them around my body, and on May the 1st every year I'd go dancing. No, Adrian.
No. Yeah.
Morris dancing crotal bell thing.
I've not found a really nicely decorative one. I found some nice ones with patterns on, but not found a really, really nice decorative one. Found a lot of them are ringers, but yeah, so they seem to have to work harder, don't they, the Americans?
Yeah. TC says some regions just didn't use crotal bells as much as others.
No, that's correct.
Luke, correct. Would you mind checking if Ken's camera's working?
Feel sorry for him. His family aren't coming down, are they? He thought they were upstairs watching him. They're obviously watching. Oh, there he is.
Hey, we're back.
He's back.
Your family weren't watching you, Ken.
Do you know who he looks like, actually, Adrian? Do you watch Forged with Fire?
Oh, no.
He don't. I think he looks like one of the guys from Forged with Fire. Right. 27. Aaron's in Winsford on the 27th. If that's the case, I'm off all next week. For the next 3 weeks, Aaron. Give me a shout if you're passing. It'd be nice to see you in not metal detecting. We're just about to go over to this week's Diggers Dips. Now, I actually forgot about doing this until Tuesday night, Adrian. I forgot to set the competition running until Tuesday night. And oddly, we've got, outside of Graham Dempsey's competitions, we've got more entries than normal.
Oh, really?
So, Luke, if you could share the screen, please. And don't forget about this weekend, it's the Techathon on the Diggers Dips website. So get your tickets for that. We just refresh that just in case. Right, so the concept of this weekend, you have to choose a number between 1 and 54. First prize this week is Britain's first coin book by Chris Cook. Second prize is the cleaning pencil courtesy of Composite Cleaning Pencil. And third prize is 5 Diggers Dips tokens. So, Ken, number between 1 and 54.
I pick a number between 1 and 54?
Yeah.
38. 38.
Adrian?
11.
51.
Dave, you saw that stop at 5.
Yeah, I know I did. I was still wrong. Number 53. So, Coffin has won the Britain's first coins book. Ken?
One more time?
Number. Yeah.
18.
Adrian?
42.
That's my number. I'll have to go for the other one. 19.
Oh,
I'm actually feeling a bit of excitement tonight, Adrian. It's been a while.
Yeah, well.
Oh, Adrian. Oh, Adrian, you could be on it.
I need some more wax. I do actually need some. Oh, look at that.
Ding,
He's
ding,
done
ding,
it.
ding. Look at that.
Racing driver air. You had a 1 in 54 chance and you got it. You need to put lottery on you. So final prize, Ken?
Yeah, let's do 40.
Adrian?
3, please.
10. And this is for 5 Diggers Dips tokens. Are people playing along in the chat room? I can't see that.
Yes.
Oh, 2.
Oh.
I actually run on this. Number 25, Giuseppe. So, first prize, Britain's first coins book to Coffin. Second prize, a cleaning pencil to racing driver Ed. And third prize, 5 Diggers Dips tokens to Giuseppe. You will all be notified in your inbox and told how to claim your prize with the email that is linked to your account. So thank you as ever to Chris and the team at Diggers Dips and to Graham Dempsey from the Composite Cleaning Pencil. There you go. That's that done for tonight. So tell you what, Ken, if you ever are looking for stuff to clean your items with, and I think it's, I think it, in fact, if Graham's there, he'll tell me it might be Calico, but then again, it might not be Calico. It might be Digger's Den. But his products, the Composite Cleaning Pencil range, absolutely fantastic. I think most people in the UK are now turning to that, aren't they, Adrian?
Yeah, and it'd be very good for your Roman coin, Ken.
Exceptionally.
Yeah. I have a set of Andre's pencils, which are similar composite cleaning pencils, and I know I can get those at Kellyco. So I'm affiliate for Kellyco, so I've seen them there and some other brands of composite pencils. But yeah, they're brilliant on a lot of stuff. I know that I haven't tried it on the Roman coin. It's pretty wiped. You can just see a bust, and you can see a little bit on the back, but.
Honestly, he was giving me a how-to demonstration, wasn't he, at Detectable, Adrian? Mm. So first we were using the different nibs, and then we were using something else, then we were using something else. And a pretty grotty Roman that you couldn't make out was pristine. And he's now got this new thing, which is repatinating it as well. So it's bringing it up more or less new, wasn't it, Adrian?
Yeah, no, he's got some good stuff as old.
He certainly has.
Yeah, definitely. Just one quick question, Ken. When you came over to the UK, did you and all your colleagues bring your detectors?
We did. We traveled with them. Some people had a special pack that could carry them on. I didn't want to do that. I a bunch of YouTubers, right? So we all have a ton of camera equipment and high-tech equipment. I carried all that in my carry-on. My detectors, I went ahead and packed 2 of them in a suitcase. Very carefully, arranging the coils so that the little, wire connectors weren't going to get snapped off. Layers of hoodies and such. We were coming in February, so we had to be prepared for the wonky weather, which we absolutely experienced. About 15 pounds of mud on each boot, right? Out there walking the fields. But yeah, we packed them and checked them. Had to keep that weight under 50 pounds in our bag to keep the cost down, and survived well.
I was going to say that always worries me traveling with, you've got a machine potentially worth £1,000 plus in your case, and I'm not sure about in the States, but some baggage handling in the UK, you see some nightmares, don't you, Dave? Sort of throwing them off the conveyor belt, 10 foot down into a trolley. I just think, but what machine did you bring over to the UK?
Yeah, the ones I spoke about. I brought the T2 Classic over by Technetics and the Nocta Macro Simplex. Brought both of them over.
Right.
And it was I was glad of that because, once it started raining, we had rain, sleet, hail, snow. We had it all. And when that happened, I just reach out for the Simplex and keep swinging. So I was glad to have that waterproof machine.
Have you heard anything from Texas Technetics about any new machines in the future? Have you heard anything over there?
Yeah, they have a PI machine coming out. It's been coming out for years, actually. But other than that, not really. They don't, if it's one thing I wish they would do is come out with more modern machines. And maybe they do. Maybe I just haven't heard it. I know they have that PI machine that they've been working on for a while, and they're trying to have some really unique qualities with that. But other than that, I really haven't heard of much. My friend got the new Apex by Garrett and has been checking that out. A lot of my friends have the Nox, and so we all hunt together. And it's a matter of inches, right? Like no matter who I can always follow behind them and find stuff. They can always follow behind me and find stuff. We swing at different angles. You can find stuff. It's always a matter of inches. I know that. Here's a story from England. I don't know how you guys feel about a bunch of us Americans coming over and digging in your country, but we sure appreciate it. A lot of us are just lovers of history, no matter where we're at, really respectful of the opportunity we had. But fortunately, our group took out about 9 pieces of gold in the week we were there. They really put us on some amazing land. And one of my friends from Ohio, state of Ohio, he's with Can You Dig It YouTube channel. His name's Seth. He found a full gold stater, Celtic stater, and it was part of a previous hoard report. You know what I mean? So they ended up not wanting it. Addy, they call them Addies, right? He found an Addy, and it was amazing. And I know a lot of us were like, well, if he doesn't head back to that area after lunch, we're all going to go bottom feeding over in that area, right? And he didn't. And a lot of us headed over to that area, and we're kind of swinging in the general area he was in. And eventually he moseyed on over there, and he kind of followed in behind us. And there he was all of a sudden hitting another quarter stater. And when I came, I was the closest one to him, and I came over. I go, you got to be friggin' kidding me. And he came over, and he goes, here's the bad part, Ken. Look where I found it. It was only an inch down, and it was in somebody's boot print.
Oh, yeah.
Fresh boot print. So somebody had missed it by inches or ignored the signal. You know, maybe it's too scratched. Quarter staters aren't that big, right? So maybe they just ignored this faint signal it gave them. Even though it was an inch down, I would have blown my ear off in all metal mode. But
I've got 2 last questions myself for you, Ken.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The first and most important. I don't know what you call it in America. You know what you do your cooking on? We call it the hob, the top of your stove, your rings on top. What do you call it in America? Burners?
Yeah, the stovetop.
Stovetop.
Burners
What's your favorite burner on the stovetop?
Gas.
No. Which position?
Oh, lower. Okay, front left. Closest to me left. Closest to me left.
Not very safety conscious, is he?
No, not at all. But I did buy one of these fry walls. You ever heard of a fry wall?
No.
It's a piece of thick kind of polyurethane plastic that forms a big wall off your frying pan so that the grease doesn't splatter and splatter on you. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's
splash bag.
Yeah, splash bag. Or something like that. And that helps protect me a bit. But yeah, I'm a front guy all the time. Whether I'm boiling, frying, or I'm a big cook. I love to cook, man. Love to eat, love to cook. Yeah,
me too. We're back to being my brother again now. And my final question, and it comes from Tony Kaywood. He's asked me to ask you about the Forest Fen treasure hunt.
Yeah, you guys familiar with it?
I am. Some of the viewers might not be.
Right. So Forrest Fenn was he did all kinds of things, sort of the man of the world. He was an archaeologist. He was a art dealer, and he accumulated a ton of just trinkets and gold, jewels, gems. I mean, just treasures. Anastasi bracelets, silver, you just name it. He was really involved in American Indian research and Native American research. And he had a huge art gallery with just tons of stuff. Sitting Bull's peace pipe, like all that stuff from American history. And he, in 88, I think he came down with cancer, and he was going to fill this treasure chest full of all these jewels, like $2 million worth of gold coins, old valuable stuff. And he was going to go lay down with it and die and leave his autobiography with him so that people would find him 100 years later, finding his bones sitting on this treasure chest. And this was his big romantic idea. His dad kind of did the same thing when he went away and died and kind of, committed suicide. And he kind of had this in his head that this was what he was going to do because he had terminal cancer. So he got this chest, this Romanesque chest, paid $25,000 for that, and just packed it full of $2 million worth of gold, gems, coins, all kinds of bracelets, old Anastasi necklaces, just all kinds of stuff, old gold plates from old cultures and stuff, Spanish culture, and then he wrote this, and then he got better. He went into remission, and so he decided he was going to write a poem, and he produced a book in 2010. He produced a book. And in that book, he released a poem that he said, if followed precisely, would lead you directly to the treasure chest. And since then, tens of thousands, 30,000, 40,000 people, the estimates are, have been looking for that treasure chest. And it's been found. Just last year, it was found by a guy from back east. Figured it out. But I was a big searcher of that. I decoded the poem the best I knew how, along with tens of thousands of others. People over in the UK were in on it. They made trips over here. 5 people died looking for it. A number of people were trying to get him to end the hunt because of people getting injured. He told people, "Don't go where an 80-year-old man won't go," but people just ignored him and perished, unfortunately. But yeah, I was a hunter with that and searched for it and released a bunch of videos on it, especially when it was found. I released a bunch of videos, and there's the poem right there. Yep. And it's just interesting because you can determine and decipher so many things. And the community surrounding this thing is about as crazy as you can find, man. I am telling you, they have the craziest ideas. But everyone had an idea. Everyone had a solve. And I had a number of solves based on different criteria and went boots on the ground out looking for it a number of times. One of them I filmed. It's on my YouTube channel. It's one of my first or second video ever on my YouTube channel. I filmed one of my hunts and told you about my solve and went out there. So when I told my family that it was Easter Sunday, and they said, "We have to go. We have to go. You've got it nailed." And we drove 8 hours north up into Wyoming and
didn't find it.
Got scared though, man. We were in grizzly country, and I had a big old moose jump out of the bushes on us, which I thought was a grizzly bear. About
that's
soiled
happened to me so
my
many
pants.
times. And that.
Moose can be dangerous too, but grizzly.
We did cover it. The Archaeology Metal Detecting magazine, which myself and Luke are the co-editors of, we did cover it, and multiple times. We had a guy who wrote a book called "Title to the Gold" by Andy Briggs. His name was. We had him do quite a bit, and we did cover it a lot. And I know, obviously, as you said, last year Forrest Fenn passed away. Excuse me. But also, allegedly, and I'm saying allegedly, the gold, the treasure was recovered. Excuse me again. Is that actual? Was it recovered? Because there were so many naysayers saying this isn't right because no one's come public.
Do you believe in Santa Claus? Man, I do. I'm a believer, man. I'm a believer. I believe it was found. But yeah, like you said, Dave, tons of controversy surrounding this hunt. Just craziness. I've had so many people, because I released these videos you're showing on the screen right now. I had so many people reach out to me, going all kinds of different directions, telling me stuff. I was following the court case of the lady in Chicago, the attorney in Chicago that was suing his estate and the so-called finder. People just really went off the rails. And who knows? I mean, can I be duped? Absolutely. Can you be duped? Absolutely, we can be. And if that's the case, it'll be very sad and disheartening. But I'm a believer. I'm a believer it was found. He has not, the so-called finder has not released any information. I've emailed him. Him and I have corresponded on email together. And actually, the Today Show here in the States is a big network news show. The Today Show actually featured a clip from one of my videos. I thought that was pretty cool. He called me up and asked if they could feature my video, and that was awesome. Real big honor of mine. But I think it has been found, and I think that someday it will be released where exactly it's found. We know it's in the state of Wyoming, or at least that's what they have said. I think someday the deciphering of the poem will be released, because currently it hasn't been.
And I think that's what 40,000 people are waiting to see themselves. Not so much the treasure, but the actual see how close they were to deciphering the poem.
Yeah. That's all I want. How far off was I? How did his mind work? It's just crazy. You know, I think as he got closer to his death, he started releasing more and more clues just at interviews and such, that I really felt he wanted it found.
Yeah.
He was getting older. I really did. Like he released some really banger clues. You know, one of the main first clues was begin at where warm water's halt, and so everyone had to decipher what this meant. And he said that's the first clue, and if you don't have that, you don't have anything. And lately, like in this last year, just before his death, another famous searcher of the YouTuber searcher that was looking for it, he asked her, "Where's your warm water's halt?" And she said, "Oh, it's at the confluence of this river and that river." And he said, "Have you stuck your toe in it?" And he goes, "I've been in that river. That's not warm." So it really led everyone to go, whoa, it's actually a geothermal body of water. where no one had thought that it was before. I didn't. I thought it was a code for something else. But yeah, amazing. A lot of people are involved in it. But there's all kinds of other what they call armchair treasure hunts like that going on across the nation at any one time. So if you're looking for it and you're interested in that, just do armchair treasure hunt. And you'll find a bunch of information.
Oh, definitely. I feel a little bit for that.
Yeah,
that sounds interesting. They should do something like that. One of our rallies, Dave. We could write a poem.
But ours wouldn't be able to be read out in public, would it?
No, there is.
It'd be more like a limerick than a poem, to be honest. And yours would potentially be a haiku.
Yeah, that'd be fun though.
That was my 90s reference for Kerry there, and I bet she's the only one who got it as well. I'm waiting for her to say she did.
Ken, more importantly, when you go detecting, what do you take to eat and drink?
How did I forget that?
Oh, usually if I'm gone for the day, it's just the minimal stuff. I'll pack a very light, minimal sandwich, or even maybe just some jerky or something, some dried meat, and something with some salt, and lots of water. And that's what I take. I'm not a big soda fan, pops fan, or anything like that. I'll save my whiskey drinking for when I get back in the evening. But that's usually what I take with me.
Thank you.
No cakes. Sorry, Dave.
But beef jerky sounds good.
Yeah. I like beef jerky.
Yeah, I like beef jerky.
In fact, I had some beef billiton given to me for free the other week, but I honestly don't think it's as good as jerky.
Oh, I would love to try it sometime. What do you think of it?
It's more like shoe leather than jerky is.
You've seen the commercials where they cut it, like it's all over Facebook, right? They show those commercials where they're cutting into it and the juice is just running out of it. Not like that, eh?
Nothing like that. Yeah. So, Ken, we've reached 9:30. This is the time where we start to say our goodbyes. So, before we do go, obviously, this is the show. Could you tell us a bit more about the show before we go, and where your YouTube channel is for the viewers again?
Sure. The Relics Radio podcast airs every Thursday night here in the States at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. here Mountain Time in the Colorado where I'm at, but at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we bring on treasure hunters and relic hunters and people associated with the metal detecting community. We bring on museum people that have information about historic past, shipwreck treasure hunters, all kinds of different guests. A lot of YouTubers. I'm bringing on a lot of YouTubers right now just because I know them, and it's fun to bring those people on. But we usually spend about an hour and a half. It's on Spreaker.com is where we host it. But afterwards, then you can find it on any place you can find podcasts. It's called Relics Radio. We spend about an hour and a half. We have a live chat group and a call-in phone number, so you can call in and ask questions of our guests. And that's Relics Radio. It's been on for about 4 years. My YouTube channel is called Adventures in Dirt. There it is. And over there, I produce my own digging videos, which you can find a playlist for. I also have playlists surrounding the Forest Fen treasure. And mainly what I've been doing is this weekly dirt show, which right now I'm at 191 weekly dirt episodes. It airs every Sunday here in the States at around 2 to 3 p.m. here in the States. Every Sunday, where I try to bring you the best of what's going on out there in the metal detecting community, so that you don't have to watch a ton of videos. You maybe just get caught up. You want to find a new channel to watch, or find out what we're digging here in the States, or what they're finding over in Japan or Italy, or even see if some of your fellow diggers there in the United Kingdom. Come check it out. And if you like what I'm doing, subscribe to the channel, but don't subscribe and not watch. That's the worst thing you can do to a YouTube channel, is to subscribe and not watch. So if you like what I'm doing and you're watching my videos, you think you want to see new videos when I bring them out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you over there as part of our family.
Well, I've subscribed this evening. I've recently started to pull away from television because it's pap, and watch more on the YouTube. And also, I've found a way of I don't listen to podcasts in work because we can't use earphones, so I don't.
No, I'd never do that.
So I haven't listened.
Never.
I haven't listened to your podcast in work this week. I didn't listen to the one with Gypsy Jules on at all.
I wasn't listening to that last night either, while my wife was asking me a bunch of questions. Don't say anything.
Right, so have you got anything else you'd like to add before we go, Ken?
You know, I just want to thank you guys for inviting me on here to the Big Detecting Show. It's been fun. I appreciate you guys thinking of me and bringing over. And Tony, thanks for inviting me over. It's a pleasure. Anytime you guys need me to ramble on about anything, I'm happy to do it. But yeah, you know, you guys keep doing good stuff over there. And hopefully one day I'll see you all over at Detective Hall and meet a bunch of you. That'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be fantastic. And you're more than welcome to come back over with us anytime.
And thank you for leaving your family and your mother upstairs. And they're obviously not watching Ken because they didn't come down or they're too embarrassed. So they're probably having a lovely time upstairs.
I'm going to go spoil it.
Kilos flowing.
Yeah.
I'm going to go spoil it. Rescue my dog and spoil the fun they're having. Yeah. But thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Well, you're more than welcome back anytime. As I say, it's been a pleasure having you tonight. So we'll be back the same as ever next week. Hopefully, I will be getting some videos done this week at DetectorCon. I don't like making videos, but because Luke's not with me to do the videos, I'm going to try and do them myself. So we'll have hopefully some videos and some reports back for you from next week. Thanks again to Ken for coming on the show.
Thanks to Luke. Thanks to Luke for putting my stuff up. Thanks, Luke.
Absolutely. Thanks, Luke, upstairs. Thanks to everybody for tuning in tonight and all when this is converted to podcast, all the listeners. Thank you, Adrian, as ever, you good-looking mofo, you. And we will see you all same time, same place next week. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. See you, Ken. Bye.
See you.
Ta-ta.
What's going on?
Ghost. Kevin.
No!
Kevin.
Why?
Kevin. No.
Oh, I can't, mate. I need to wet myself.
That's all
Oh my God.
Kevin.